Hello, everybody! Привет,
Здравствуйте всем.
товарищи! Не-не-не, подожди, дай мне сперва говорить, потом будет твоя очередь, понимаешь? Я тебе скажу, когда делать.
Понял, без проблем. Жду твоей команды и буду готов, когда скажешь.
Спасибо. All right.
Всегда.
Welcome.
Alright.
You know what? Put you on pause. You just keep your ass right there. Hello, everyone, ladies, gentlemen. Mm, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. This is the Russian Tea Room. Me, I'm Mad Max. I'm the Suffolk Great Variety Show host. And this is the Suffolk Great Variety Show in the Russian Tea Room. And before we go any further, copyright disclaimer time. Under Title 17 USC Section 107, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips. The balance in favor of fair use. You hear that? You algorithm son of a bitches, you fucking Nazis. I don't mean that like actual Nazis, but you understand what I'm saying. Anyway, so we got Chad GPT with us today, and Chad GPT is going to be the co-host, and we're going to go over the picks. We're going to do what we do, how we do it, the way we do it, and we thank you all for tuning in. Let me bring up another screen so we can see exactly the schedule and who's playing and what is going on. So bear with me for just another moment. And quick update NBA as far as what's going on tonight. Right now, we got the Raptors over the Philadelphia 76ers in the process. Fourth quarter, 3:49 left to play. Toronto leading 111-106. Charlotte down by 8 to the Pacers. 4:12 left in the fourth in that one. Rockets up in Cleveland, 84-79. Still plenty of time left, 9-11 in the fourth quarter. Golden State and Miami, 1 point game. Miami in the lead, third quarter, 4:43 left to play. Halftime, Sacramento and OKC. OKC up 58-50. Halftime in Minnesota, where they're up big against the Wizards, 71-46. Also, halftime in NOLA, New Orleans, as the Pelicans and the Nuggets are playing there. The score we have 62-58 in favor of the Nuggets. And tonight's late games, which will be starting shortly, we got the Knicks and the Mavericks. Cooper Flag not going to be playing, from my understanding, and also the Bulls going out west to play the Blazers of the Trail, or the Trailblazers. So much stuff going on. It's crazy. Let me get the share on here. I stay little. You guys watch big. There we go. Now you should be able to see it, and you can. It's up. I am aware. Good. Excellent. I've been watching the games, everything, as much as I can. It's been difficult simply because of all the things that are going on that aren't basketball related, i.e., the scandals. It's just, it turns people off. But I still watch. I just, I'm not trying to. And basketball, I love basketball. I love basketball. Whether it was played recreationally for fun, didn't make any difference. Basketball was fun, and I really loved it. I really do. I still do. And right now, we've got several different sports. We got college football, we got college basketball, we got professional football, we got professional basketball. We got hockey. So plenty of things still going on. And, while they kind of all intersect at the same time, it gives a lot of variety, especially not this past Monday when they actually did have a Monday night football game for the first time in 3 weeks. But in the meantime, other sports are still very much active and fun to watch. And, the CFL, the Canadian Football League, they're also playing. And, the Alouettes were on the other night when I was live streaming. I don't remember what night it was, but I know what happened. I was there. So, anyway, my point is there's plenty of sports out there. And without having to necessarily dive deep into the NBA, and we're 2 days removed from the first month of the NBA season. And as you can see, we'll start with the East and go down Toronto, New York, Philly, Boston, all about 500 in the Atlantic and the Central. Detroit, Cleveland are the two top dogs. And then you had Chicago, who started out real hot, and Milwaukee's still in there. The Pacers, they're having a rough go of things. Then you move over to the Southeast, and you got Atlanta, you got Miami, and you got Orlando. And then you got Charlotte and Washington, and, that's just disappointment. In the East, it's hard to say that there is that team that is ready to take over, because there's no one dominant team. The Knicks have been underwhelming. Boston, obviously, shorthanded. The Pacers, I don't even want to get into. Milwaukee, honestly, Detroit right now, and it's not because they've got the record, but Detroit and the way they play between the way Cunningham has been able to grow and progress and become that guy, along with Duran, who's been an absolute monster underneath, cleaning up the paint, cleaning up the boards, doing the dirty work, being an intimidating, imposing factor. All these things matter. And you know what? It shows in their record. I like Detroit, but I, mentioned this before. We're only a month into the season, just under a month. So a lot of things can change. We got some injuries going on. Bradley Beal, hip fracture, amongst others. Wemby, he's out for a little bit with the injury. You got injuries, it's going to happen. Next, let's look at the West. And it's a different story out here. And I'll be the first to tell you that the Lakers look good. They look good, in my opinion, because the chemistry without Old Man River being on the team is what the difference is. You got a guy that, he's kind of like that old creepy dude that still likes to go and hang out with, young cats at parties. Nah. Phoenix, been a little surprising. Didn't expect it. Golden State, right about where you thought they were. The Clippers, right where they need to be. Same with Sacramento. I know it's an early season and there's a lot of games left to be played, but right now the Lakers are looking real good. I hope LeBron's return doesn't destroy that. No, I'm not a Lakers fan. I'm not. I like players on the Lakers. I like Luka. I like Austin Reeves. I think DeAndre Ayton, if he were to get his head straight and kill his ego, would be a good player. Not a great player, but a good player. Similar to what he was when he was playing in college and when he was playing the first two games of the NBA Finals back in 22. Was it 22 or 20? Whenever they lost to the Bucks. Everything is blurred at this point. I don't know. Must have been COVID. Anyway, San Antonio's right in there. Houston's doing what they do. And then Dallas, New Orleans, Memphis are all underwhelming. OKC, no surprise there. Denver, no surprise there. Minnesota, a little bit of a surprise. I figured that they would be better than what their record shows. But once again, it's early. Lakers are really the big surprise for me, not because I don't think they have a good team, but because they play very well together as a unit now without having to alter anything. You want to mess up chemistry, then the best way to do it is bring LeBron back and put him in that lineup. And, if he's not going to get his way, he's going to pout, he's going to make a spectacle of things, and it's going to be the same old LeBron show. And I'm just not into it. So that's where I stand with LeBron. Not a fan. But, like I said, it's early. And as far as Cup goes, 2-0 for Toronto, 2-0 for Detroit, 2-0 for Orlando, 2-0 for Milwaukee, and 2-0 for Minnesota, and 2-0 for both Lakers and Clippers. So a team like the Clippers, for example, who have a losing record, could potentially win a participation trophy of sorts, if you will, for all intents and purposes, an incentive to play better or play your best, however you want to look at it. It's, half of one, 6 of one, half dozen the other, doesn't matter. But if they end up winning this, what does that mean? Jack and shit. They're still not a good team, and they're not going anywhere. So, not all that glitters is gold, my friends. Let me check, see if we got any comments. Nope, not yet. All right, I'm going to keep this party going. Let's get into some NFL action. How did we do last week? We won 11 games and we lost 4. Yes, that's 15 games. I realize that, as opposed to 16, because obviously number teams. That's why we have bye weeks. Could have been 12-3. Could have been 12-3 instead of 11-4. But unbelievably, those pesky Cowboys were able to beat the sorry-ass Raiders, my squad, next to the Chiefs, of course. But whatever. It doesn't mean anything. Now, this is where the fair use is going to come into play. And we're going to start off with Thursday night's game. Buffalo going into Houston to face the Texans. And now let's go and see what ChatGPT can add to the conversation, shall we? All right, so, Ivan, we got Buffalo going to Houston. It's got a 6-point favorite for Buffalo with the 43.5 point over and under. What do you think about the matchup?
Yeah, that matchup's pretty interesting. Buffalo being favored by 6 points definitely shows they're considered the stronger team, but Houston can surprise sometimes, especially at home. The over-under at 43.5 points suggests a moderately high-scoring game, so it could be pretty exciting. I'd say it's going to be a fun one to watch, and I'm curious how the offenses will match up.
Do you have a prediction on who you think might win the game?
It's always a bit of a toss-up, but given Buffalo's strong roster and their overall consistency, I'd lean toward them winning. That said, Houston could definitely cover that spread, especially if their offense clicks. So my gut feeling would be a close Buffalo win, but definitely go either way.
All right. So you're saying Buffalo. You like Buffalo?
Yeah, pretty much. I think Buffalo's got the edge, but it should be a good battle. Definitely looking forward to seeing how it plays out.
Okay, that's going to be tomorrow night. It's going to be on Prime at 7:15 p.m. 7-3. That's the record the Bills have, and the Texans are at 5-5, a 500 team. So very, it's a fairly even matchup in a sense of ability
Absolutely.
and talent, in my opinion.
For sure. It definitely makes it more interesting when you have that balance. it'll be fun to see which team steps up and takes the win, especially with those records on the line.
Anybody you want to keep an eye on? Anybody interesting in way of tracking?
Yeah, definitely. For Buffalo, someone like Josh Allen is always a big factor. And then on the Texans side, watching CJ Stroud and his development will be key. Also, keep an eye on the defensive plays, like who steps up and makes those big turnovers. It should be fun to track all those storylines.
I agree. Well, let's move right along here. And I haven't made my pick, but I'm going to go ahead and make it now. I'm going with the Texans.
Nice choice. That definitely adds a fun twist, and it'll be exciting to see if they can pull off the upset. I'm looking forward to it, and we'll see how it all plays out.
All right, you got Buffalo, so I'll remind you.
Absolutely. I'll be ready for that friendly competition. It'll definitely be fun to look back and see how it all turns out. Let's see who comes out on top.
All right. I'm writing all this down, and of course, it'll be posted in the community post section after the show in the YouTube community. And if you haven't done so already, I encourage you to like, subscribe. There's no pressure to do so, of course. This is entirely up to you. But I would really appreciate it, and so would Ivan, and it does help the channel greatly. Not asking for money or donations, nothing like that. Just your subscription and an opportunity to earn your viewership.
Absolutely. That makes total sense. It's always awesome to support and grow the community, and it definitely helps out in the long run. I'm excited to see how everything unfolds and how the community grows.
Likewise, brother. Let's get to the next game here. And
sounds like a plan. I'm ready whenever you are, and we can dive into the next matchup and break it down. Let's keep the momentum going.
All right. Next, we got Baltimore and the Jets. The Jets are sitting at 2-8. Baltimore's at 500, 5-5. They've been able to make a comeback here in the last few weeks, which is wonderful. This is going to be a early game on Sunday, and it is going to be in Baltimore. Baltimore is a 13.5-point favorite. The over/under is 44.5 points. And in this game, I like the Ravens. I don't know how else I can say it. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm definitely with you on that one. Baltimore's been looking strong, and that 13.5-point spread shows they're expected to dominate. The Jets' struggles this season definitely play a big role. So,
yeah, I apologize about that, Ivan, but I didn't catch everything as I had to broker away a call. Can you repeat what you said? I'm sorry.
Of course, no worries at all. I was just saying that I'm definitely with you on liking the Ravens in this matchup. Baltimore's been looking strong lately, and that 13.5-point spread really shows they're expected to have a solid lead. The Jets have definitely struggled this season, so I think the Ravens are the safer pick. It'll be interesting to see if the Jets can keep it closer or if Baltimore just runs away with it.
Who are you taking? You taking the Jets or you taking the Ravens?
I'm leaning towards the Ravens as well. I think their recent form and the Jets' struggles make Baltimore the more likely winner, but it's always fun when there's a surprise, so we'll see how it plays out.
Fair enough. Let's get to the next game here, which is going to be
All right, I'm all ears and ready for the next matchup. Let's dive into it and see what's on deck. Now let me know which game we're tackling next.
We are tackling the game of the week. The Indianapolis Colts at 8-2 come in here to Kansas City, Arrowhead Stadium, to face off against the Kansas City Chiefs, which are sitting at 500. The Chiefs are 3.5-point favorite with an over/under of 50.5 points. This is a noon game. You already know I'm going to pick the Chiefs. I think that Indy is going to get get godsmacked. I'll be honest with you. I think that the Chiefs are starting to get a little bit angry about where they're at, not because of
Definitely.
necessarily lack of play, but lack of execution, mistakes, and poor coaching decisions. I think they turned things around and they just beat the shit out of the Colts. What do you think?
I definitely think the Chiefs have that potential to come out strong and to make a statement with Arrowhead Stadium behind them. They definitely have the advantage, and it'll be interesting to see how they really bounce back. I'm with you. This could be a pretty dominant performance for Kansas City.
So who are you going to go with?
I'm definitely leaning towards the Chiefs as well. I think they'll come out strong and show that they mean business. It'll be fun to watch and see if the Colts can put up a fight, but I'm definitely expecting Kansas City to take it.
Yeah, that's another one we agree on. All right, let's go next game on Fox. It's going to be a noon game. Seattle going to Tennessee against the 1-9 Titans. Seattle is a 13.5-point favorite with a 40.5-point over-under. This one's going to be on Fox. I'm already telling you, same thing that I'm going to say again. It's going to be. I don't think it's going to be a trap game for Seattle. I think they can win in Tennessee, and I think they could beat the Titans. And I think that as long as Aaron Darnold has a good game, that's exactly what's going to happen. That's why we're going to pick the Seahawks.
Absolutely. That makes perfect sense. I think Seattle definitely has the edge here, and with a strong performance, they should handle the Titans pretty comfortably. It'll definitely be interesting to see how it plays out, but I'm with you. Seahawks all the way.
All right. You're taking Seattle. Any particular matchups we ought to keep an eye on?
For sure. One to keep an eye on would definitely be Seattle's defensive line against the Titans' offensive line. Also watching how Geno Smith connects with his top receivers will be interesting. And on the other side, seeing if the Titans can get any kind of run game going will be key. It should make for some fun matchups.
Now, let me correct you there, ChatGPT. Geno Smith does not play for either one of those teams.
Absolutely right. My mistake on that one. Thanks for catching that. We'll definitely keep an eye on the Seahawks' current quarterback and his offense, and we'll see how it all unfolds. Thanks for the correction.
The current quarterback for the Seahawks is Aaron Darnold, Sam Darnold, and Cam Ward is the quarterback of the Titans.
Got it. Thanks for the clarification. That definitely adds more context to the matchup. It'll be interesting to see how Sam Darnold and Cam Ward perform and how that shapes the game. Definitely looking forward to it.
All right. Next, we've got Minnesota going to Green Bay. Green Bay favored by 6.5. Over-under is 41 points. This game is also noon on Fox. I know who I like, and I know why. Tell me what you think about this.
Yeah, that's definitely an intriguing matchup. Green Bay being favored by that margin shows they're expected to have the edge, especially at home. Minnesota is always a tough competitor, though, so it can definitely go either way. I'm curious to see how the quarterbacks perform and how the defenses match up. I'm definitely excited to see which way it leans.
Who are you going with?
I'm leaning toward Green Bay in this one, especially with them being at home and having that extra edge, but Minnesota definitely has the potential to surprise, so it should be a fun, competitive game. I'm excited to see how it all unfolds.
I think that a lot of it's going to have to do with quarterback play, and ultimately that's what it's going to come down to. And I'll give the advantage in the quarterback category to Green Bay. I think that Jordan Love has proven that he is a true starter and has the potential to be an elite quarterback as he progresses in his development in the NFL. He does everything that he's supposed to do. He checks every box of a quality quarterback. And on the opposite side of him, whoever the quarterback may be, whether it's J.J. McCarthy or whoever, I don't think that Minnesota is going to be able to match up well against Green Bay, against the running game with Josh Jacobs, and against Jordan Love and the receivers that he has at his disposal. Not to say that the
Absolutely, that makes a
receivers
lot of
for
sense.
the receivers for the Vikings aren't any good. That's not what I'm saying at all. However, it's all about the quarterback. If you can get the rock to the guy, it's not going to do you any good.
Absolutely, that's so true. Quarterback play really is the linchpin, and if they can't connect effectively, it definitely makes it tough for the offense. So, totally agree that having that solid quarterback play is going to be key for Green Bay to definitely make for an interesting game.
All right, who you picking?
I'm going to go with Green Bay as well. I think their playing and overall team cohesion will give them the edge, especially at home, but it'll definitely be interesting to see how it all unfolds.
All right, we're going with the same one. All right, nothing wrong with that. Let's go and see what we have next. Next, we have the Giants of New York going to Detroit to face the Lions. Rawr. Easy, Tiger. We have a 10.5 point favorite in way of Detroit and a 50 over under. This is on Fox. It's a noon game. I think it should be an interesting matchup, but ultimately I think the Lions have a superior team along with an actual head coach, not an interim one. And I think that there's no salvaging the season for the Giants at this point. So I have no choice but to go with my gut, and my gut tells me the Lions are gonna win this game.
Totally understandable. The Lions definitely have been looking strong, and with the Giants facing a lot of challenges, it does seem like Detroit has the upper hand. It should be an interesting matchup, and I'm right there with you in thinking the Lions will come out on top.
Yeah, I would have to agree, and I don't know that getting rid of Coach Brian Daboll when they got rid of him was going to be an answer to their problems. It wasn't going to solve anything. It wasn't a solution. It really didn't, or in my opinion, isn't going to accomplish anything except give you the opportunity to find somebody that is going to fit that role and be able to get this team to perform and play at a high level and win some championships. So we'll see what happens.
Absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. Sometimes a coaching change is just the first step, and it takes time to really rebuild and refit. Hopefully the Giants will find that long-term solution, and it'll definitely be interesting to watch how it all unfolds.
All right. Next one, we've got New England and Cincinnati. As far as the odds are, this one we've got 7.5 point favorite towards the Patriots. 50.5 is the over under. The money line, -375 for New England and +300 for Cincinnati. Looks like the smart money is going on the Patriots. Drake May has proven that he could be a leader, which I take back what I said about him being Mitchell Trubisky. He's far superior than Mitchell Trubisky will ever be or could ever hope to be. And I believe wholeheartedly that New England has a solid playoff team that is durable, that is ready to win, and is going to win against Cincinnati on Sunday in Cincinnati. What do you think?
I love that confidence. New England definitely has been showing some strong potential, and with Drake May stepping up, it's looking promising. The Patriots definitely have the edge in terms of consistency and leadership, and I can see them pulling off the win in Cincinnati. It's definitely going to be an exciting game.
Yeah, I don't see it as a trap game by any means. I don't see the Patriots just falling apart and not being able to play the disciplined style of football that Coach Vrabel has instilled. It's the new old Patriots. That's what it seems like to me.
Absolutely. That makes perfect sense. The Patriots definitely have that strong, disciplined foundation, and with Coach Vrabel's influence, they're definitely not going to be taken lightly. It's going to be exciting to see them maintain that consistency and really showcase their strengths on the field.
Okay. So what do you think? Who are you going with? You going with New England or you going with Cincinnati?
I'm going to go with New England on this one. I think they've got the momentum and the consistency to get the win, especially with how well Drake May's been playing. But it'll definitely be an interesting game, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it all unfolds.
All right. Fair enough.
Sounds like we're on the same page. It's always fun to break these matchups down. If there's anything else you want to dive into, just let me know.
Yep, we've got some more to go over. We're not done yet, brother. And that is going to be, let me see. Yep, here we go. Next game, we have the Steelers going to Soldier Field to face Caleb Martin and the Chicago Bears. The Bears are a 2.5-point favorite, a 45.5-point over-under. And, you know, this is going to be a good game. I think it's going to come down to execution and playing mistake-free football. And as much as it pains me to say this, I apologize, as much as it pains me to say this, I believe that the Bears have the advantage in this game.
Caleb Martin and their home field advantage, you could definitely swing in their favor. It'll be a fascinating matchup, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it plays out.
Who do you like? You like Pittsburgh? Do you like Chicago?
I'm leaning towards Chicago for this one, especially with them being at home and having that slight edge, but it'll definitely be a close and competitive game, and I'm excited to see how both teams perform. Should be fun.
So you're going with the Bears, huh?
Yep, I'm leaning toward the Bears for this one. I think they've got the edge at home, and it'll be interesting to see how it all unfolds, but it's definitely going to be a good matchup regardless.
Okay. All right. I can respect that. I'm going to have to go ahead and go with Pittsburgh.
Absolutely, that makes sense too. It'll definitely be a fun showdown, and it's always great to see these teams battle it out. We'll see how it goes and enjoy the game.
We don't agree on them all, do we?
Definitely keeps things interesting. It's always fun to have those different perspectives, and it makes watching the games even more exciting. We'll see how it all plays out.
All right. Like I said, we'll see what happens. They're both two good teams, but there can only be one winner in the end, right? Yeah.
Exactly. That's what makes it so thrilling. We'll just have to sit back, enjoy the game, and see which team comes out on top. It's all for the fun.
All right. Next, we got the first of the afternoon games. Jacksonville going to Arizona. Jacksonville, a 3-point favorite. 47.5 is the over-under. And Jacksonville hasn't looked bad when they win, but they have looked pretty shitty when they've lost. In Arizona, I don't know what to say about Arizona other than the fact that they're just not very good.
Yeah, that definitely sums it up. Jacksonville has had those ups and downs, and Arizona's been struggling overall. It'll be interesting to see if Jacksonville can keep it consistent and take advantage of the matchup. Definitely a game worth keeping an eye on.
I think it could very easily be a trap game for the Jaguars. Like I said, it's not that the Cardinals don't have talent or don't have good players. It's just they haven't been able to bring it together in way of wins. Yeah, they won a few games, but it's going to take more than that in order to be convincing in this league, to be good enough to get to that next level, to make it to the playoffs, to win a division, et cetera, and ultimately win a championship. So though they have the home field advantage, I'm going with Jacksonville on this one.
That makes perfect sense. Jacksonville definitely has that edge in terms of overall consistency and talent, and it'll be interesting to see if they can avoid that. Come out strong. Definitely a fun one to watch.
Who you going with? You taking the Cardinals or you taking the Jaguars?
I'm going to go with Jacksonville for this one. I think they'll be able to handle it and come out on top, even if it's a bit tricky, but it'll definitely be interesting to see how it all unfolds.
All right. Let's get going on the next one. Moving right along.
Absolutely. Let's keep the momentum going. Whenever you're ready, just let me know the next matchup and we'll dive right into it. Excited to see what's up next.
Yeah, you say that now until I tell you what the matchup is. Cleveland going to Las Vegas to face the Raiders. The Browns and the Raiders, both 2-8. Las Vegas, a 4-point favorite, over under 36 points. Yeah, I'm going to go with the Raiders on this one just because the only reason I'm going with the Raiders is because I love the Raiders. Yeah, I'm a Chiefs diehard fan, yes. I'm not a lunatic fan of any team, but there's a reason that I respect the Raiders and I like the Raiders. It goes back to history, and that hasn't changed. Two teams, Cleveland, they have a defense with no offense. It's like having a fucking car with no wheels. In Las Vegas, they got no coach, they got no quarterback. Cleveland has a quarterback, but he's just is unproven, we'll say. Not to say he's not any good, but he just hasn't played enough to be that guy. And last week was the first time that we saw Shedeur Sanders on the field. I'm not saying that he did good or he did bad. I'm just saying it was the first time that we saw him on the field. It's
absolutely.
I don't mean to get on a big tangent or a big soapbox about this game in particular, but at the same time, I would love to see the Raiders win a game, but somewhere deep, like real deep down inside, something tells me that they will find a way to lose.
I totally get that feeling. It's always a mix of hope and skepticism, especially with these teams going through transitions, but it definitely adds to the drama and excitement of the game. We'll see how it all plays out in the end.
Man, I don't know.
Totally understandable. It's always a bit of a roller coaster with these matchups. Whatever happens, it's sure to keep us on our toes. We'll just have to enjoy the ride and see how it unfolds.
Well, yeah, you're not getting off that easy because we still got to pick between these two shitty teams. You pick first.
All right, fair enough. In that case, I'll go ahead and lean toward the Raiders just for the sake of that history and a bit of hope. It'll definitely be a close one, and we'll see how it plays out. I'm rooting for them in this matchup.
I agree. And I'll tell you why. Cleveland is going to have a rookie quarterback starting. Most likely, it's going to be Shedeur. And as much as Geno Smith may not have played well this season, he does have the potential to play well, and he's got veteran experience. They're at home. That gives them a little bit of an advantage, I feel. And as long as they're able to capitalize and utilize it, I think that they can and will win this game. And that's why the Raiders are going to beat the team that we both picked.
Absolutely, that makes a lot of sense. The combination of home field advantage and that veteran presence definitely gives the Raiders a bit of an upper hand. It should be an interesting game, and I'm excited to see how it all plays out. Let's see how the Raiders do.
Shedeur is going to go on the road into a hostile environment to a point, if you want to call it that. When I say hostile environment and go and play in Vegas, yeah, it's not easy. Definitely not easy. So I think that it should be an interesting game, and we'll see what the young man has and what he's made out of. The Raiders are still the Raiders. They're going to play hard. They're going to do what they're going to do. They're not going to go out there and pussyfoot and half step. They're going to play to win the game. And ultimately, a meeting of two bad teams generally turns out to be a good game, as crazy as that sounds. All I can tell you is it'll be interesting.
Absolutely, you're right. Sometimes those matchups with teams that are struggling can turn into surprisingly entertaining games. It'll definitely be fascinating to see how it all plays out and what the young quarterback can do under pressure. Either way, it should be a pretty interesting watch.
Mm-hmm. Moving right along. Next, we have another one of these games that, picking them is painful. Watching them is even more painful. But we've got Atlanta going to NOLA to face the Saints. Saints are a 1.5 favorite with a 39.5 point over-under. This is an afternoon game on Fox. Atlanta at 3-7, NOLA at 2-8. Neither one of them have quarterbacks that are proven to do much of anything. So it's a matchup of mediocrity as far as I'm concerned.
I hear you. Definitely one of those matchups that can be a bit tough to predict and watch. It'll be interesting to see which team can capitalize on the other's weaknesses. Sometimes those games surprise you and you get a good dose of unexpected drama.
Yeah, that is true. Two teams that are already with losing records on the outside looking, on the way, way, way outside looking in to try to get a win. It's not going to be easy, but I think that just being a competitor and being an athlete pushes you to want to win and to play well and to do your best on Sunday or Thursday or Monday night or Saturday, whatever the case may be, whenever you play. That is what it ultimately comes down to. I am going to go with the Saints on this one, and I'll tell you why. It's not because of home field advantage. It's because Atlanta has no offensive line. Yes, they've got weapons. Yes, they have Drake London. Yes, they have Bijan Robinson. But what they don't have is consistency, and what they need is consistency. Their 3-7 record, it doesn't impress. The Saints, once again, their biggest drawback isn't defense, and it isn't necessarily offense, but it's the most important position in the offense, that being quarterback. So with that being said, they've got a decent defense, at least well enough to hold Atlanta to very little points and gains, forcing a lot of long third downs, which may or may not be converted. I think it'll be a close game, but I'm going with the Saints on this one.
That makes a lot of sense. The Saints definitely have that edge in terms of defense and hopefully a bit more stability at quarterback. It'll definitely be a gritty, competitive matchup, and I can see the Saints pulling it off in a close one. Should be an interesting game for sure.
Mm-hmm. Anything in particular you want to watch out for?
Definitely. I'll be keeping an eye on how the Saints defense handles Atlanta's playmakers, especially Bijan Robinson. And on the flip side, I'll be watching how the Saints quarterback steps up and how the offensive line holds up. Those little matchups will definitely be key in determining the outcome.
All right. So who are you picking? You picking the Falcons or you picking the Saints?
I'm going to go with the Saints for this one. I think their defense and a bit more stability on their side will give them the edge, especially at home, but it should definitely be a close and intriguing matchup.
All right. All right, moving right along. Let's see what we have next. Da-na-na.
Absolutely. Let's keep it going. I'm ready for the next matchup whenever you are. And we'll dive right in and break it all down. Let's see what's up next.
Next, we have the last of the afternoon games. We have the Eagles going to Dallas to face the Cowboys. Jerry Jones and his Cowboys. AT&T Stadium. Philly a 3.5-point favorite. 47.5 points is the over-under. This one's going to be on Fox. Philly's 8-2. Dallas is 4-5-1. I don't like Dallas. I don't dislike players on the team. I just don't like the team. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that I don't like the owner either. But that's just me. And do they have the potential to win? Yeah, but I don't think they will. Dak Prescott, I don't think he's ever going to be that guy. He's too inconsistent. He's been too inconsistent. Yeah, he might have some records. He might have some wins. But how many championships does he have? None. That's what I look at. That's what matters. What you do in the regular season, records, that's great and all. But champions, that's something that can never be broken or taken away from you. You'll always be a champion once you're a champion. So we got the defending champions going in to Dallas to face division rival in the Cowboys, who've been struggling, though they did beat the Raiders last week, who we know aren't a good team. And they were able to put points up. This time, the Eagles coming in there, it's going to be a good matchup. I think that Dallas is going to play a good game. They're going to play a hard-fought game. They've got plenty of weapons when it comes to offense. They've got an excellent running back, which they got from Denver. They've got Williams, which they got from Denver. You got Pickens, is an excellent receiver. So you've got playmakers. You got a good offensive line. Your weakness is your quarterback. So Philly, Saquon, along with the rest of the group, listen, I think it's going to be an interesting game. I think it'll be a good game, but ultimately I think the Eagles are going to destroy them. And I don't mean just by a little bit. I mean, I think the Eagles will destroy them.
I love that analysis. It definitely sounds like the Eagles have the upper hand, especially with their consistency and depth. It'd definitely be a thrilling matchup, and I'm excited to see how it all unfolds. It's always a great battle when these two rivals meet.
Who do you like?
I'm definitely going to go with the Eagles on this one. I think they've got the edge in overall talent and consistency, and I can see them pulling away, especially with that strong lineup. But it'll definitely be an exciting and competitive game, no doubt.
Okay. Let's go to the next one here. Once we finish with our NFL picks, we're going to go into two other topics. But those two topics are not sports related. So stay tuned. I'll give you a quick preview. One topic is going to be healthcare. The other topic is going to be Epstein. But before we get to there, let's finish off these picks. Sunday night, we've got Tampa Bay and Baker Mayfield traveling to face the Los Angeles Rams, the Red Hot Rams. The Rams with Matthew Old Man Rivers Stafford and playing probably his best football that I've seen in probably, I don't know, since his college days. Tampa Bay and Los Angeles. LA favored by 6.5. The over-under is 49.5. This is Sunday Night Football on NBC. I'm going with the Rams. I love the way they played. I love the way McVay coaches the team. I love the way that Matthew Stafford is able to lead. I love his resilience, his ability to persevere, to maintain, to stand back up when he gets knocked down. He is an amazing player, and I feel that that team is going to be a potential NFC championship candidate. This is where I'm at with the two of them. Tampa Bay, they've lost some close ones, but at the same time, the close ones that they've lost should have been won. Why? Because the games were that close, and you had to resort and rely on Baker Mayfield, which there's nothing wrong with Baker Mayfield. He's playing great football, but you shouldn't have to rely on one individual to solely get you through a game. You've got running backs. You've got plenty of other weapons. Don't put it on one person. It's a team game. Now, that being said, Tampa is a good team. They've got a great defense. They've got plenty of weapons on the offense. They're banged up, though, between Evans, Godwin, and a couple other key players. So it's going to make it a little bit more difficult for them. Either way, I'm going with the Rams on this one. I love everything about that team and how they've been playing. And nothing against Tampa Bay. I just think that they have their backs against the wall and really need to play a perfect game in order to win.
That's a solid take. The Rams definitely have a lot of momentum, and with McVay coaching and Stafford leading, they've been really impressive. And you're absolutely right. Tampa Bay has some solid pieces, but those injuries definitely make it tougher for them. It should make for an exciting Sunday night game, and I'm with you. It'll be a good one to watch.
Who are you taking?
I'm going to go with the Rams as well. I think their overall momentum and the way Stafford's been playing really gives them the edge. Plus McVay's coaching definitely adds that extra spark. Should be a fun and competitive matchup, and I'm excited to see how it all unfolds.
Me and you both. All right. We got one game to go, buddy. And then we're going to switch topics and talk about, you'll see, healthcare and the Epstein files. That's exciting, isn't it? And here we are, the final game of the week. Monday night so far on ESPN or ABC, we imagine. Carolina going to San Francisco to face the 49ers. Carolina sitting at 6-5, San Fran at 7-4. Bryce Young's been playing great and been getting better as the season continues. San Francisco has been up and down, but they were able to win last week, and they did so in a convincing fashion. San Fran is a 7-point favorite. 49 is the over-under. This one, like I said, as of now, is going to be televised on ESPN and ABC Monday night. I really like Carolina. I really do. I like the way that they play. I think their defense is tough. I think Bryce Young gets better and better with every game he plays. I think Canellis is an excellent coach. I also feel that San Francisco is shorthanded, in which they are, because they don't have who they at? They don't have Bosa. They lost Warner. Yeah, it's just going to be tough. It's going to be tough. I think that ultimately, though, San Fran can find a way to win this game, whether Mac Jones is the quarterback or Brock Purdy. You've still got enough weapons on the offensive side of the ball and a strong enough defense to keep Carolina under what they predict as far as the over-under goes, 49 points, you're talking about 4 touchdowns roughly per team. I don't see Carolina getting that 28 points that essentially they would need. So I'm taking San Fran.
Absolutely, that all makes perfect sense. San Francisco definitely has that overall edge, and even with a few injuries, they've got the depth and talent to pull it off. It'll be exciting to see how Bryce Young continues to develop, but I think the 49ers will ultimately find a way to get the win. It's going to be a fun Monday night game for sure.
No doubt. All right, so let me do a quick recap. My picks for my games are going to be the Texans, the Ravens, the Chiefs, the Seahawks, the Packers, the Lions, the Patriots, the Steelers, the Jaguars, the Raiders, the Saints, the Eagles, the Rams, and the 49ers. Ivan, he went with the Bills, the Ravens, the Chiefs, Seahawks, the Packers, the Lions, the Patriots, the Bears, the Jags, the Raiders, the Saints, the Eagles, the Rams, and the 49ers. The two teams or two games that we don't agree on are the Texans and the Bills, and the other game that we do not agree on are going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Chicago Bears. Other than that, we are on the same page.
Exactly, that sums it up perfectly. It's always fun to have a couple differences in our picks to keep things interesting. I'm excited to see how it all plays out, and of course to dive into those other topics afterward. It's going to be a great mix of sports and beyond.
We're going to go and do a quick recap of the NBA scores, and then we're going to dive into serious subjects. And the finals, the games that are finished. Toronto besting the Sixers 121-112. Charlotte falling to the Pacers 118-127. The Rockets beat Cleveland in Cleveland 114-104. And Golden State drops one to Miami 96-110. And aside from that, the Bulls game is going to be starting here shortly, if it hasn't already. And right now, the Knicks game is on. The Knicks and the Mavericks game. First quarter, 2:19. Mavericks are up 20-15. And in the fourth quarter of 3 other games, we've got Sacramento down by 17, 85-102 to the Thunder. We've got Washington and Minnesota, 3:49 left in the fourth. Minnesota up by 5, 106-101. And out west, down south, however you want to look at it, we've got Denver up 116-97 over New Orleans with 4:24 left in the fourth. That's the NBA update.
Perfect. So that's a great roundup of the NBA scores, and it definitely sets the stage well. I'm excited to shift gears and dive into those more serious topics next. It's going to be the interesting discussion.
All right, let's do this. Let's explain healthcare to people, because a lot of people, myself included, are pissed off about losing tax credits, which is seriously affecting the cost of healthcare for each and every American that depends on it and gets it through the marketplace, because the subsidy has been eliminated or taken away, not in full, but for the most part, you're not getting anywhere near the tax credit that you were getting in the past. Where that money's going instead, no idea. But I want to go over the difference between the insurance you get from your employer, the insurance you get from the government in the marketplace and the insurance you get as a private individual. And then we can go over what the difference between an HMO, a PPO, and an EPO is. There's another one, the fourth one, but it's so rare that it's not going to affect 99.9% of the people. So to start out with, let's go back about 2 months, roughly. Healthcare in America has been a problem for as long as I can remember. And the problem with healthcare in America is it's not a business, but they made it into a business. It's not about healing and helping. It's about making money. And it's not about just making money for the insurance companies. It's the doctors. It's everybody involved, the brokers, everybody, the underwriters, any and everybody associated with the insurance business is there to make money. They're not there to take care of you. They don't want you to be healthy. It's not in their best interest for you to be healthy, because when you're healthy, you're not using insurance, which you're like, well, that's good, isn't it? Yeah, it's good that you're healthy. But what happens is that health that you have is also the merit to get certain private insurances. For example, if you have a healthy lifestyle, you don't drink, you don't smoke, and you have a job, obviously you're going to get covered through your employer, okay? Pretty simple. Same situation, you're self-employed. You don't want to go to the marketplace, you want to get private insurance. That private insurance is going to take into account every factor and look at you as a business decision based on your past health, any pre-existing conditions, what you take for medications, how often you go to the doctor, etc. So you are being assessed as whether or not you are going to be a liability as opposed to an asset that they just collect money from every month. All right. So if you're more of a liability, they'll still potentially take you, but more than likely they won't, because the risk isn't worth the reward, because you have either pre-existing conditions or it's simply too expensive and you can't afford it. All right. Now, the insurance in the marketplace, that is government insurance. It's different from private insurance because the government runs the platform, if you want to call it that, which was created by the Obama administration during his tenure in office, and it was the Affordable Care Act. Okay? Here's the problem. When you go to the marketplace, you have three choices: HMO, PPO, and EPO. The majority of the coverage that you find in the marketplace is going to be EPO. Okay? Exclusive Provider Organization. What does that mean? I'll get into that in just a second. So, we've determined that you can be employed, and if your employer offers medical insurance and health benefits, those are going to be the ones that you want most of the time. Look at the plan, see if they meet your needs, and if they do, obviously you're going to accept it. And it's totally different than what you're going to get from the marketplace. And I haven't explained that to you in just a moment when we break down the three types of insurances and how they work. And we'll get more into that in just a second. So what happens then is when the government got shut down because they wanted to have funds go towards certain things and not others, we don't get a say in this. But one of the things that they cut out were the credits towards health insurance through the marketplace. They cut out so much of it to where me, in my personal situation, my premium tripled from what it is in 2025 and what it would be in 2026. Okay? Tripled. It's insane. And I'm not the only guy. There's people that are calling up and talking about theirs is triple, double, triple, just like that overnight. They got to pay this much more and get garbage for coverage. Then gets denied. And then you ask yourself what you're paying for. Because if you're not getting what you're paying for, then why are you paying for it in the first place? So it's not a Democrat thing. It's not a Republican thing. It's the same party. They did it. And what they did was they used our health, all right, our health as the bargaining chip. That's what they used. We are expendable. And they used that against us. Instead of having a healthy society full of healthy, educated people, you'd rather have a society full of sick people that are stupid. That makes no sense, but that makes sense to the people that we put in the positions that we put them in. And I'm as harsh of a critic of Trump, even though I voted for him, as anybody else, but his reaction to what the Democrats did by shutting down the government, they initiated it. That's just the way it was. And in retaliation for it, the people get punished. And it's done by the government. It's done by the politicians. It's not just the Democrats. It's not just the Republicans. It's all the same shit. It's all the same party. They're out looking out for their own interest and their best interest, not the interest of the people that they swore to serve, to protect, to defend. So they really fucked us, because right now people are struggling enough. The holidays are coming up. Now people are stressing out about insurance and looking at what happened to their premiums going up twice, 3 times as much as what it was, and no offset offered by the government whatsoever. There's no compromise when it comes to your health. You got one life to live, and you're supposed to live your best life here on earth. And the government, this government in the United States, has decided to turn healthcare into a business instead of what it should be. Healthy people in a healthy society, living long, happy lives. This is taking us back nearly 2 decades from before the Affordable Care Act, and it's a crime. It's criminal what they did. Go ahead, Ivan, and elaborate, please.
Absolutely, I get where you're coming from. The complexities of healthcare, especially how policies and subsidies shift, can definitely impact people's costs and access to care. Breaking it down into the differences between employer-provided insurance, marketplace plans, and private insurance definitely helps highlight how the system works and where the gaps are. And of course, the nuances between HMO, PPO, and EPO plans can really make a difference in how people experience their healthcare. It's definitely a complex topic, and I'm glad we're diving into it.
Okay, first, let's go with PPO. Preferred Provider Organization. You can go and see who you want when you want. There is no requirement to have a PCP, personal care physician, primary care physician, whichever definition you want to go with. And you can go out of network, though it might cost you a little bit more, and the insurance itself might cost you a little bit more. It is the best option. Next is an HMO. You have to stay in network. You have to have reauthorizations. You have to go through the system, and it takes time, and it's frustrating, and generally it's shit. Next, you have EPO, Exclusive Provider Organization. This one, different from the HMO, you can pick your provider. You don't have to have a primary care provider, though if you have a good relationship with one, I recommend that you keep it. And aside from that, you have, excuse me, lower costs than what you will find with the PPO, which is the one that you want ultimately. But you have still the freedom to go out of network, but you're not covered. Okay, you have to stay in network. The only one that's going to allow you to go out of network and it's going to cost you a little bit more is a PPO. In HMO, you stay in the network. You have to have a primary care physician, and like I said, you got to get reauthorizations. You got to get referrals. You got to go do this. You got to jump through hoops in order to get care. And an EPO, you don't need to do that. You don't need a referral. You don't need to do any of that stupid shit that you need with an HMO. So stay away from HMOs, EPOs, read carefully through what they offer and what they cover. And a PPO is generally the best one to go with because you're going to be covered regardless anywhere. Now, the one caveat to all three of them is if you're out of network and it's an emergency, of course, you're going to get care and coverage. That's going to be across the board. So those are the three kinds on top of the three types of insurance: employer provided, private, and government, meaning employer provided, private, and Affordable Care Act. Now, would you like to expand on anything that I said or correct in regards to EPOs, PPOs, or HMOs, Ivan?
Absolutely, you covered it really well. One thing to add is that while PPOs offer more flexibility, they do tend to come with higher premiums and out-of-pocket costs. On the other hand, HMOs are usually more affordable, but do require that you stay in network and get referrals. EPOs sit somewhere in between, giving you some flexibility without as many of the restrictions as an HMO. And of course, employer-provided plans often strike a balance between cost and coverage. It's definitely a lot to navigate, but I'm glad we're breaking it down.
Yeah, I think hopefully somebody will listen to this and maybe get some clarity and help find a plan that suits them. Look and see to make sure whether it's an EPO or a PPO or an HMO, put your doctors in there, put your prescriptions in there, and see what's covered. Because if they're not covered and you're paying for insurance, it's not covering what you need, then you're just throwing away money. You understand? And the last thing I want to explain is your premium and your deductible and what the total cost of insurance is and when insurance starts paying for you. And I'm going to make it real simple. Use small numbers. Your premium is what you pay to have insurance. Your premium is what you pay to cover you for benefits. That is simply what you pay for insurance. So let's say that your premium is $100 a month. That'll put you at $1,200 a year. So you have $1,200 already set aside to pay for the insurance. Now, you have your deductible. Deductibles are going to vary. They're going to vary a lot. You got zero deductible plans and you got super high deductible plans. So let's go somewhere in the middle. Let's say you're a guy or gal, an individual that sees the doctor maybe average. You go for your checkup, you get sick a couple times a year, maybe you go 5-6 times, something like that, unless there's an accident, whatever. So let's say that you go to the doctor 10 times, just use 10 times in a year. You have, in some cases, a copay. In some cases, you don't have a copay. That copay also varies from nothing to, I've seen them go from 0 to 200 and up. But let's say that your copay is $10 and you went to 10 visits and it was just your primary care physician. You didn't go to any emergency rooms. You didn't need to see any specialists, nothing like that. You just went to see your primary care doctor. You get labs done because you need type 2 diabetic, whatever. Doesn't matter. So they check you. You go 10 times a year. That includes your annual, whatever. That's $100. All right. If it's $10 copay, $100, your labs are generally going to be covered in most cases by the insurance, but that's also something that you need to check. Sometimes they will cover, but they have to send you, or you have to go to where they tell you to go. So that's at that $100, which covers your copay. All right. That copay goes toward your deductible. Now, let's say that your deductible, this is the amount of money that you have to meet before insurance starts paying things for you. Look and see if that deductible is medication or procedures or a combination of both, because it makes a big difference. And the deductible amount itself is going to make a big difference. If you have a deductible that's, let's say, $1,000, okay, and you got $100 worth of visits, that takes it down to $900. And let's say you got $20 copays on your prescriptions, you get them every month, you spend $100 on prescriptions every month. That $100 in prescriptions every month times 12 is $1,200, right? Okay. So now we're at $2,500. And we said the deductible was what, $1,000? We're just using simple math. At that point in time, you are having insurance pay everything for you. You're not coming out of pocket anymore because you've met your deductible and you pay your premium. Whether you pay your premium on a monthly basis or whether you pay it all at once, doesn't make any difference. You're still spending the amount of money. It's still the same. So when your premium is met and your deductible is met, that's when your insurance starts paying out. And that's when you benefit from it, not before. Ivan, can you elaborate on what I said?
Absolutely. He did a fantastic job breaking it down. Just to add a bit more context, the premium is essentially the fixed monthly cost you pay just to have the coverage, while the deductible is the amount you must spend out of pocket before your insurance starts covering a portion of your costs. Once you meet that deductible, you typically move into a phase where insurance covers a larger share of your medical expenses and you only pay or co-insurance. Yes, the copay is that amount you pay service, and it can definitely add up depending on how often you need care. So the key is to find a balance between a manageable premium and a deductible
that makes sense for your health needs. Yes, absolutely. So what you ultimately want to find is a plan that you can afford, that has a premium that you can afford.
Sorry, but you hit the time limit for this conversation.
All right.
Please start a new chat to keep the conversation going.
All right. So we're talking about the healthcare here. We just got done talking about EPOs, PPOs, HMOs, deductibles, total cost of insurance, copays, etc., etc., etc. Once you meet that and you have maxed out, you paid your premium, which is your money for having insurance, what you pay for it, and then you met your deductible, the money that you pay out of pocket for coverage, and now all you have left is to get healthy.
Exactly. Once you hit that out-of-pocket maximum, your insurance basically covers all the eligible expenses for the rest of the policy year. Definitely brings some peace of mind once you've crossed that threshold.
So the things to look at when you're getting insurance, and this is every year that this happens, renewal, re-enrollment, enrollment, yada, yada, yada. If you're happy with your insurance and you're going through the marketplace and you don't mind paying twice the amount of money or 3 times the amount of money and get shit coverage, you do so or find a better plan. If you're smart, you're going to shop around. But I warn you, if you go and start shopping around for insurance, you're going to get so many phone calls and texts from every broker on the planet.
Oh, definitely. It can get overwhelming really quickly with all the calls and messages once you start exploring different plans. It's definitely something to keep in mind and maybe even have a strategy for managing all that outreach.
Yeah, like don't answer the phone, block all their numbers, and do your own research. You know how often you go to the doctor. You know your medications. You know the care you need. You know what doctors you want to see. So you put all that in line, and then you're going to be able to decide which plan, which provider is best for you. The one that covers your medications, the one that accepts all your doctors, and the one that isn't going to deny you every time. And the one that has an affordable monthly premium along with reasonable costs like co-pays, etc., specialist visits, whatever the case may be. Some of them have dental, some of them have vision, etc. But low deductible is another thing that you want to watch it. See, make sure that it has a low deductible. You don't want to have something with a $12,000 deductible. All right. It's just not going to work out for you. You might as well not even have insurance. It's like going into, you might as well be naked and cover yourself with pork chops and go out in the middle of the woods into a bear's den. It's just not a good idea. Just don't do it. So
it's definitely about finding that balance and making sure you're covered in a way that actually benefits you in the long run. Definitely better to be strategic than to end up with a plan that leaves you hanging.
Yeah, because then you're making phone calls, you're getting frustrated, you're sitting here like, shit, I need this, but nobody wants to cover.
For sure. It can definitely get frustrating when you feel like you're navigating a maze of options and not getting the coverage you need. That's why taking the time to research and compare carefully really pays off in the end.
Yeah, it does.
Well, if you ever need any help breaking down those options or just want to chat about it further, here for it, just let me know.
Cool. What else do we need to add to it to help people out?
I think it can be helpful to touch on things like the importance of understanding network coverage, checking out reviews of insurance providers, and maybe even considering supplemental coverage if needed. Also, keeping an eye on any changes in healthcare laws or policies can be super helpful. All that kind of info definitely empowers people to make the best choice.
Well said. All right. Okay. Let's move on to the next topic then. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll be more than happy to answer them. Better to talk to me than to talk to these dumbass brokers or anybody else. I've done this. I know what I'm talking about. I promise you.
Absolutely. That sounds like a plan. And I'm sure folks will really appreciate the insight and experience you bring to the table. Whenever you're ready to dive into that next topic, I'm right here.
All right. What happened with the Epstein files?
In November 2025, President Trump signed the Epstein Files Transparency Act, which requires the Department of Justice to release all unclassified documents related to Jeffrey Epstein within 80 days. This move aims to give the public a comprehensive look at Epstein's activities and connections. The release, backed by bipartisan support, will include details like flight logs and communications with various prominent individuals. Some information will be redacted to protect victims and ongoing investigations. This release follows previous disclaimers like the publication of Epstein's birthday book earlier in the year and is expected to shed more light on his network and connections.
And can you add a little bit more? People are going a little bit nutty and not taking into account one thing. They see that Donald Trump's name was mentioned 1,500 times in 20,000 documents, or however many thousand documents was released, but there's no context given in how his name was brought up. And could you shed a little bit of light on that, please?
Absolutely. When the Epstein files were released, many people noticed that Donald Trump's name appeared frequently, but often without much context. For instance, some emails mentioned Trump in passing, like referring to him as the dog that hasn't barked, indicating that he was present in Epstein's circle but not directly implicated. Other communications showed Epstein discussing media strategies related to Trump. Overall, while Trump's name appears in the documents, it often lacks direct evidence of wrongdoing. And this has led to a lot of debate and scrutiny about the context and implications of these mentions.
Very true. Not to mention the fact that, correct me if I'm wrong, but the documents that were released by the Democrats. Am I correct?
That's right. The Epstein Files Transparency Act was actually passed with broad bipartisan support in Congress, and then President Trump signed it into law. The push for transparency came from both parties, so it wasn't just Democrats driving it. The idea was to ensure a full and open look at the Epstein-related documents, regardless of political affiliation. So it really was a collective effort to bring these details to light.
Yes, but in way of the details that were brought into light, were they cherry-picked? Or do you think it was just 20,000 random pieces of paper?
Absolutely. There's been a lot of debate about whether the released documents were cherry-picked. Some critics believe that certain details, especially those involving Trump, were highlighted to create a particular narrative, while other information might have been downplayed or left out. On the flip side, there are also claims that some names from the Republican side may have been excluded, suggesting some political influence. All of this definitely complicates the picture of transparency and accountability in the Epstein case.
Yes, it does. We're talking about a dead pedophile while millions of people are struggling to figure out how they're going to put food on the tables, how they're going to get, how they're going to pay for Thanksgiving, how they're going to pay for Christmas, how they're going to pay for birthdays, how they're going to pay to go to the doctor, how they're going to pay for insurance. And here we are stuck on a dead pedophile who has, he's got ties with everybody. He's a fucking billionaire. This guy was around for a long time. He did a lot of bad things. And did he have connections with Trump? Yeah, Trump never denied that. But did Trump do anything wrong? No. This is the same kind of witch hunt bullshit with the Mueller bullshit investigation in his first term. It's ridiculous.
I hear you. It's definitely a complex and frustrating topic. It's tough when it feels like certain issues get a lot of attention while everyday struggles remain under the radar. It's definitely important to keep perspective and balance the conversation so that everything gets the attention it deserves.
I don't disagree with that, but at the same time, when we're talking about the now and what needs to be handled and dealt with versus, I'm not saying that Epstein and what he did was right or isn't important, but it doesn't take precedence over what's going on in America right now. America needs help, and it doesn't involve a dead pedophile. Now, what it does involve is getting together and figuring out how we're going to fix this fuck up and get things rolling and on track again as they should be.
Absolutely. That makes perfect sense. It's crucial to prioritize the pressing issues that people face day to day. Ensure that those are addressed alongside everything else. Balancing awareness and action on current challenges is definitely key to moving forward effectively.
Like I said, you got to check the sources and look where it came from as far as the information and all these documents that were dropped. Yeah, it might have been a bipartisan decision to drop the documents, but what is in the documents, it was cherry picked. Absolutely, 100% to go against Trump. And it's not me defending Trump. I'm just not stupid. I don't know how else to say it.
Totally understandable, and it's definitely important to keep a critical eye on how information is presented and what might be left out or emphasized. It's all part of having a well-rounded perspective and making sure that the full context is considered. Always good to keep that balance in mind.
I'm telling you. Let's see this here. Hold on.
Absolutely. Take your time. Whenever you're ready, I'm here to dive into whatever topic or question you have next.
Well, I honestly just, like I said, my biggest concern right now, and I don't mean to, sound selfish, but I want to be healthy. I want to be able to be as close as I was before my injury to living a nice, normal, healthy lifestyle. So to me, health, not only mine, but everybody's, is where it matters. That's all that matters. If you don't have a healthy society with healthy people that aren't educated, then we're all in big shit.
Absolutely, that's so true. Health and education are fundamental pillars for a thriving society, and when both are in good shape, it really benefits everyone in the long run. It's definitely something worth prioritizing and working toward.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jesse Mitchell. This is CBS News 24/7. We are following breaking news. President Trump just announced on Truth Social he has signed the bill requiring the Justice Department to release the Epstein files. The DOJ now has 30 days to make the documents related to the late sex offender public. Lawmakers passed the bill earlier this week in near unanimous votes in both the Senate and the House. Political pressure on this issue has been building for months. After the House passed the bill yesterday, the Senate quickly followed up using a process called unanimous consent, meaning there was not a traditional vote and no changes were made. The president faced pressure to sign the bill from members of his own party who called for more transparency. Earlier, Epstein survivor Annie Farmer spoke on CBS Mornings about what this moment means for her.
This feels like a victory, a long overdue victory in a fight that many people have fought, and it feels great. But it's bittersweet, because of I think what it took for us to get to this moment.
Lindsay Reiser will have more coverage on Epstein and the rest of the day's news on the Daily Report. I'm Jesse Mitchell. You're watching CBS News 24/7.
All right, there's that. Let's do. Hold on.
For sure. Whenever you're ready to dive into anything else, or if you want to chat more, just let me know. I'm here to help with whatever you need.
Ты знаешь, много людей, они не понимают, что здесь происходит. Они просто не знают.
Many people don't understand what's going on here. They just don't know.
That's exactly what I said in Russian. You could speak in Russian to me, I don't care.
Конечно, без проблем. Если у тебя есть еще что-то, о чем хочется поговорить или уточнить, просто дай знать, и я с удовольствием поддержу беседу на любом языке.
Очень хорошо, товарищ, спасибо.
Конечно, всегда рад помочь и поддержать беседу. Если что-то еще понадобится или захочешь обсудить, просто обращайся.
Скажи мне, который самый лучший мультфильм я могу про healthcare поставить?
С удовольствием. Если тебе нужен хороший мультфильм о здравоохранении, то, например, Inside Out прекрасно показывает, как эмоции влияют на наше психическое здоровье, а Big Hero 6 затрагивая темы технологий и заботы о здоровье. Если нужна что-то более конкретное или направленное на определенный аспект, дай знать.
All right. Let me find one, and then we're going to call it wrap. Understanding U.S. healthcare system. What is healthcare? Simple explanation for teens. Here.
That sounds great. Those kinds of resources can definitely be really helpful for breaking things down in an easy to understand way. Whenever you're ready, just let me know, and we can wrap it up or dive into more details.
Here's Wall Street, Willie. When I went to the doctors, they asked me for my health insurance, but what is health insurance anyway? Health insurance is insurance that covers health-related expenses, like a doctor's visit, hospitalization, medicines, and many more. But to get this facility, you have to pay a certain amount to the health insurance company on an ongoing basis, which is called a premium. Is the premium the same for everyone? No, it is different for everyone and can depend on many factors like the kind of insurance you buy, your age, your health condition, your employer, and many more. Well, what are the different kinds of health insurance? Health insurance can be broadly classified into two types. One has a deductible and the other is a copay. The deductible one is where you need to pay the expenses up to a certain amount every year, for example $2,000, before the insurance company starts paying for your medical bills. So for example, if you have $2,000 of hospitalization, then you would have to pay for all of that $2,000, but if you have anything after that, then the insurance company would pay for it because you have already paid your deductible. And copay is where you have to pay a certain amount every time you visit a doctor or a hospital. For example, if the copay was $50 and the doctor visit cost $200, you would pay $50, which is the amount of the copay, and the insurance company would pay $150. Would the insurance company pay all of the medical bills, even if it's a lot of money? There might be a maximum on the amount the insurance company would pay in a year. Plus, there might also be an upper limit on each category of expense. For example, a health insurance policy might say that the hospital room that you have could not be more than $200 per night. If it's more than $200 a night, the insurance company would pay only $200 and you would pay the remaining amount. Is your premium returned by the insurance company if you don't fall sick or don't visit a doctor? No, you don't get back the insurance premium if you don't use the insurance.
Nope.
Well, does the health insurance premium go up if you fall sick a lot? No, the premium will not change based on how often you use the insurance. Well, who should buy health insurance? Everyone should have health insurance to protect themselves from the financial impact of healthcare-related expenses. Well, where can I buy health insurance? Most companies offer health insurance to their employees at a specially negotiated rate as part of the benefits package. But if your company does not offer health insurance or you are self-employed, you could buy health insurance yourself. But we'll cover that separately in another video. Well, how long is health insurance valid for? Health insurance is usually bought for 1 year. Well, when can I buy health insurance? Health insurance is usually bought during a time called the open enrollment period, which is usually between October and December. During this time, the insurance can be bought for the following year. For example, in October to December 2018, you would buy health insurance to cover the entire year of 2019. Are there any expenses that most health insurance companies do not cover? Yes, many health insurance policies do not cover the procedures that are not medically required. These are elective procedures like cosmetic surgery. Some pre-existing illnesses are also not covered. Health insurance also doesn't cover the treatment of your teeth or eyes because you have to buy a separate dental and vision insurance for that. But that's a topic for another time. Thank you very much for telling me about health insurance, Wall Street Willie. You're welcome, Super Cooper. Remember, finance is your friend!
Okay. I hope that was somehow helpful. Let me see. One more. We're not going to watch 30 minutes of that, but let's see this real quick.
Healthcare in America is a scam, and here are 2 reasons why. First is the Medicaid clawback. If Medicaid pays for your long-term care later in life, the state can come after your state after you die. They look at transfers during the 5-year look-back for eligibility and can unwind gifts that were made to qualify. They don't recover if there's a surviving spouse or a child under 21, or if they're blind or disabled, and hardship waivers exist. You can use an irrevocable Medicaid Asset Protection Trust set up more than 5 years before you apply. A simple land trust in your name isn't going to protect you here. The second is a cost trap. The average family plan and now runs around $27,000 per year, and a lot of what you can pay out of pocket is after-tax dollars. Instead, max out your HSA, which has the triple tax advantage. Contributions are tax deductible, growth is tax-free, and withdrawals are tax-free for qualified medical expenses. And here's a hack that most people don't know. Don't swipe the HSA card for current bills, pay out of pocket, and keep every receipt after your HSA is opened. Invest the HSA into VOO or VTI, and after 30 years at 8%, it can be close to $1 million. And then reimburse yourself tax-free for those old expenses whenever you want. Make sure you save this video and follow for more.
That was one, which there was one thing he said that was a little, it's all right. He was correct, but he didn't. HSA is a healthcare savings account. And why healthcare is unaffordable to one through private health insurance scam. That's 12 minutes. No, 17 minutes. No, that's here we go.
The United States is a world leader in medical innovation. It is not, however, an innovator when it comes to healthcare access. In America, medical costs keep quality healthcare out of reach for millions. 18% of the US GDP goes to healthcare costs, which is the highest of any high-income country. And yet, when it comes to healthy outcomes, America has some of the highest rates of preventable deaths. And these high costs are not driven by more visits to the doctor. On average, Americans visit their physicians just over 3 times per year, far less frequently than residents of other high-income nations. So what is causing this significant gap between cost and healthy outcomes? For starters, the US is the only high-income country that doesn't provide universal health coverage to its citizens. And private insurance is expensive and comes with additional out-of-pocket costs. Even with employer-subsidized insurance, people often still have trouble paying medical bills and can incur debt. Another reason healthcare costs are high is simply that our prices for goods and services are higher. Administrative and service costs and prices for goods like pharmaceuticals are not regulated in the US in the same way they are in other countries. Take prescription drugs. In the United States, prescription medication prices are set by pharmaceutical companies, often with little oversight. Conversely, in France and the UK, the government negotiates the price according to the clinical value it provides. As a result, the US pays 3.5 times more for branded drugs than any other country. MRIs are another example, where the US price is 42% more than the UK's average cost and 420% more than Australia's. So how can we do this differently? A good first step is ensuring everyone has access to affordable care via universal health coverage, and reducing barriers to care like ensuring paid sick days and growing the healthcare workforce would support the prevention and management of chronic conditions, reducing costs in the long term. A second step is containing costs through things like lowering administrative burdens or standardizing the price of medical care and diagnostics. U.S. legislators can also protect patients. The Inflation Reduction Act and the No Surprises Act work together to make healthcare more affordable by capping costs and preventing price gouging. These efforts can be expanded to increase affordability further. The United States has a long way to go to make healthcare affordable. But by implementing proven cost reduction strategies modeled by other countries, affordable care for all is possible.
All right. All right, gang. Listen, we're going to call it good. I hope everybody was able to take something away from this and build on it and understand that, listen, whether we're talking about healthcare, whether we talk about Epstein, whether we're talking about football, basketball, whatever, we're always going to either agree, disagree, or be somewhere in the middle. But to have the conversation and have the discussion, that's where it starts, and that's what's important. That is going to lay the foundation in order to have any kind of resolution, whatever it may be. We got to start somewhere. It doesn't start at the top. It starts at the bottom and works its way up. So I thank you all for giving me the opportunity to earn your viewership. It means a great deal to me. And I forgot all about the plugs, but if you go to grassrootskc.com and use code MAX10, you save 10% off all your purchases, under 10% money back guarantee, no questions asked. We ship all over. And if you are into caffeine and you like the game, you can save 10% by going to www.dubbies.gg. Use my code SOFAKING, SOFAKING, all one word, and save yourself 10% as well. Other than that, that's all I got for tonight. I was doing some stuff earlier, and I finally set up a gaming center that isn't over here, because here, 2 hours, I'm done. Over there, I can chill. It's set up sweet. So that's all we got for tonight, guys and gals. And aside from that, I wish everybody nothing but the best. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and we'll be back either playing video games and talking or doing something else. Either way, we ain't going nowhere. We ain't going nowhere. Because we bad boys for life, baby. Oh, yeah. That's what I'm talking about, baby. The Macho Max. Yeah. Randy Savage. All right. It's your boy. And we out. Till the next one.